Hey, Jason Julius here, and I want to talk about the biggest myth or misconception about female orgasms that I've encountered in teaching men and women over the past 15 years. And that myth is people often mistakenly think that female orgasms are push button, meaning that they think it's all physical and they're going to discover a magical technique and poof, she's going to be able to orgasm like the push of a button. Now, don't get me wrong, knowing her body from a guy's perspective or connecting to your own body if you're a woman is hugely important. And since female sexuality has been cast into a dark box for so long, it can be life-changing just to begin to understand the many ways to stimulate her clitoris or her G-spot or her A-spot and how that can lead to insane levels of pleasure. And often that alone does lead to orgasm for some women. Yet it creates false expectations that she can orgasm from this type of stimulation alone, which can lead to a lot of frustration. Since I started teaching this a decade and a half ago, my biggest emphasis has been on getting her mind there because most female orgasms are mental. From a guy's perspective who wants to facilitate her orgasm, there's a lot that we can be mindful of when it comes to helping guide her mind there. And when you combine the mental approach with physical techniques, you'll become a rare type of lover. But ultimately, there's only so much that we can do as a facilitator of orgasm to get her there mentally. Where my wife and I have really broke through to understand this in the past few years is we've been helping women directly to get into an orgasmic state. Now, an orgasmic state is like a flow state or meditative state. If she's unable to get to the state of surrender, it can be difficult to let go and orgasm. And to be clear, this type of surrender isn't powerless. It's the opposite. It's a state of empowerment internally that gives permission and allowance for the body to let go. And that's why we focused on this internal state of empowerment using emotional intelligence and mindfulness meditation to help navigate past all the mental roadblocks that are unconsciously hitting the brakes. But it's also about training the mind to get into this relaxed mental state where alpha brainwaves are abundant with ease, which can be difficult for many women today because they're expected to maintain a fast-paced lifestyle. Quieting the mind can become really a challenge, and that's why we focus on training the mind like a muscle to get into this state much quicker. Yet often there's any number of unconscious beliefs that can be hitting the brakes and preventing her from getting into an orgasmic state. Just one example is I was communicating with a woman via email the other day, and she wrote in detailing how disappointed she was with her husband because she claimed he couldn't give her an orgasm using any of the physical techniques that I teach. She went on and on about how much she doesn't respect him and how she had hoped that trying these techniques would change their relationship. But it was obvious to me that her feelings and beliefs towards her partner were creating serious roadblocks in her mind. It's going to be difficult to be in the moment and surrender completely when you harbor these types of feelings towards your partner. So bringing awareness to what's happening unconsciously could be a big breakthrough, because even in a seemingly perfect relationship, old patterns of beliefs can be hitting the brakes without you even knowing it. Another example of unconscious blocks is my wife and I were having lunch with a woman friend of ours the other day, and the subject of our Sweet Release program for women came up. Now, it's a 90-day program designed to help women become more empowered internally and get to orgasmic state much more easily. But we also have videos where we teach about the body and pleasure zones and all of that. But one part is an exercise for connecting to your genitals. And when we mentioned this to our friend, she immediately gasped and she didn't know if she could look in the mirror and connect to her own genitals like that. And it was in that moment that she realized that she had patterns of shame in her unconscious mind that were hidden until she imagined doing this exercise. She immediately popped into a memory, an unconscious memory, of when she was younger, and she was made to feel shameful towards her own body and genitals. And that's the real issue here. Our society creates so much shame around sex that it creates all kinds of unconscious false beliefs that play out in our intimate lives without even knowing it. And this shame is especially true when it comes to female sexuality. And we need to be mindful and respectful that each individual is different. There's no magic push button for female orgasms. Remember, you cannot have good sex while holding judgments and expectations about your partner, or while holding onto unconscious sabotaging judgments or expectations about yourself. I encourage you to explore all things physical, both for knowing your own body and your partner's body on a deep level. But I also highly encourage you to be aware that the mind plays an even bigger role here. And when we understand that, we can make some real magic happen. Now, if you're a woman who wants to see if you have anything hitting the brakes mentally, be sure to check out our quiz over on elevatepassion.com. Also, guys, be sure to check out my blog over at jasonjulius.com for more free trainings as well. And please leave a comment down below. Let me know your thoughts and your questions. And be sure to tickle that little subscribe button down there for more content. And I'll see you soon.